So we're back, and I have the honor and the pleasure to introduce my fellow Shots of War streamer, FlashUk.
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome. So we just saw you playing Rhino 4 Team Angry against Steamroller, and your impression after this game, which I guess are very emotional right now.
Very emotional. It was a difficult game. You got to give it to Steamroller. They played very well. We tried to do something different with the banning. We tried to ban patches, and I think it was a good idea. However, we couldn't really take advantage of it because nobody in our team could play patches. So it was a tough game, and it was a well-deserved victory for Steamroller.
Yeah, when I saw actually the patches ban, I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Then again, didn't you remember that actually Regal and Vox is like a beast mode?
Well, my thinking is that yeah, Regal will play Vox, but it stops him playing Cobra as well. And you know, what I wanted to do, and the good thing about patches is it can block the Vox's ultimate. And I thought, wrongly, I thought Hussein plays patches, and unfortunately he doesn't. It isn't in anyone's portfolio, so it was a bit of a mistake and a bit misled by me. But the way I see it is Vox pops his ultimate, you pop the patch's ultimate, and it blocks everything he does, and it's a real good neutralizer.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Regal is one of the best Voxes out there, and we took a gamble thinking, you know what, we can, if we neutralize him and we avoid, you know, the gank potential that he brings with Cobra, it would free us up for when we have like a blitz and a Cobra of our own, because we always know there's going to be a blitz in that team, so it's just a question of limiting it to just one assassin.
Okay, that makes sense. Just so there was some miscommunication basically going on before the game, and that's why you actually started into the game with a little lineup disadvantage. Can I say it like that?
You can say it like that. I think it was an inexperienced lineup. I mean, I've not really played with these guys that often. It's quite thrilled to be allowed to play with these guys. They needed a player, so I didn't have a team at the time, so I stepped in. But it's not something we've practiced together, and I think these guys are definitely a strong team. They play their sentinels very well. Yeah,
this is actually what I said on stream, that actually I think that the individual skills of each player of your team are amazing and on a very high skill level, but there is team communication was missing. Also the team experience was missing. I saw several times you were engaging into the enemies. However, the team didn't follow up in this moment, or they engaged and you didn't manage to time it very well. I mean, you had really good plays, and you actually pulled out the tank play very well. You mean there were several situations. I can't exactly show it now in the replay because the technique crushed again. Yeah, but they were really like, you played on time, and there was so much opening actually for your team to engage, but it didn't came in, and then they came when you were dead, and yeah.
Yeah, I think that comes down to two things. I mean, like I said before, I've not really played with Angry before. I've played against them, played the odd game with them, but it's not. It was literally 5 minutes before we started. I squeezed into the team, and we don't have that team chemistry,
yeah.
So we rely on communication, which unfortunately I don't speak Russian, and it's difficult for these guys to have to communicate everything in English.
I understand.
You have to think so hard about translating.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, especially if you're not used to it, this is like a big, actually, it's like slows your communication process by at least, delays it by at least a second. And this is too much in Shots of War, of course. So, but would you say if you keep training now with those boys, I'm not sure if this is planned, just if you would keep training with them, do you think that you have the skill set to face Steamroller in future and crush them and burn them?
Well, I wouldn't consider this my permanent team. Unfortunately, my team, Method of Madness, could not play this weekend. Various people weren't available. Blame Happen if he's watching. But I played with these guys, and I think these guys are a very strong team. They've proven that in the past, yeah. And I think they're learning to. I mean, everyone's learning after the new update, and I think they're going to come around to be a strong team as well. But you know, I think maybe next weekend we'll see the return of Method of Madness, hopefully, and hopefully we can give Steamroller a run for their money.
Awesome. So maybe we can use this week. By the way, we talked about the tier list in the past. I created one some time ago already. But this was pre-patch 29, so it's horribly outdated. Would you be interested that we're catching up on this again and then making for the people? Sorry, maybe it's on stream. This is like now like a little bit pressure, but it just came up. Yeah, no, not now, but like this week we're sitting together with maybe no heal for you and gonna think about it again. Then I think this would help, especially the newcomer teams, a little bit in adjusting the Sentinels, specific Sentinel strengths, what to pick for the next tournaments.
Yeah, man, I always love to share my thoughts. I'm very opinionated. Whether my opinion's right is something else to decide. So yeah, I'm always up for that.
Awesome. So what would you say now? There's the progression of the tournament currently. Team Steamroller is in the next round, is facing Solo Zelda, who is currently in the top position. I couldn't even check who is the second currently in the open Shots of War ladder. What would you say? How do you have any, I don't know, expectations from the next game? Do you think? Do you know what's coming? Give me some. I don't know. Give me something here.
Okay, so I know both teams fairly well. The Solo Zelda team has Razor and Super, good friends of mine, and former teammates from Method and Madness. I think what they're doing with Solo Zelda is they're actually they're doing something a bit unorthodox, but they're setting a new trend that everyone else is trying to catch on to. I think you'll be in for an interesting game. They'll do some. You'll probably look at a couple of things and think, why are they doing that? But you know, they've really dived into the meta of the game and they really understand what they're doing. And it might be my biased opinion because I'm good friends with them. I would like to see Solo Zelda win, and I think there's a strong chance that they could win this game.
The better team should win definitely. If it's Solo Zelda, they should win definitely. I didn't have the chance to cast them yet because it's this week created. It's quite a fresh game. It's of course old players, experienced rabbits, if you can say this in English. Actually, I don't know. But it's the team itself is a new form team, correct? I'm not wrong with this.
I think these guys have been around.
None of the team itself.
Longer than a month, you know, but half the team were fairly new to Shards of War, and this is something that they took the time, they were a developing team, and they stuck with it, you know. They've stuck together. They started off with maybe a team that couldn't make it to the last four, but now they're a real strong contender, and I think, you know, regardless of what happens today, I think it's a sure thing that they'll make the offline tournament.
Okay, cool. I think well they're currently on place number 1, so if they continue this way, of course. But what I actually think is that even new players who are coming into the game meta, they're having a very fresh look on the mechanics and on the meta, how it is right now. So for us, sometimes when we're playing already since half a year, several months, sometimes, you know, it's difficult to actually, you know, make this step back and to look on this game objectively again, because, you know, especially with patch 29 still, there's so many things changed that I don't think we grasp everything already. And if you're just coming, and we have actually advantage. Also, would you agree with me?
Oh, this is similar to what's been told. So I've never played a MOBA before, and then I've been told that someone.
I mean,
with a fresh mind come into a game, you don't know what way it was before, so you never learn bad habits.
Exactly.
I think that these guys did play before the update, so they've experienced what it used to be like.
Oh, okay.
But what they do well is that they actually study the game, and they're actually, you know, there are things that look like mistakes, but some things are very deliberate. Trust me, you're in for a very interesting.
Yeah, are we out of curiosity? Are we currently talking about the drone taking but not capturing?
Yes.
So the idea behind it is that you capture the. I mean, the information is public. Yeah, we're not spoiling any secrets right now. As those matches, they played already several matches with the strategy, so the information is out there. So we're not spoiling anybody's strategy right now. But the idea, if I understood right, you take the drone in order to get the experience from taking the drone. Then you're not capturing it and giving the opponents the possibility to capture it. Then it goes to the lane, and you can get the double XP from one drone. Is this the idea?
It's not exactly like that. I mean, obviously they do. That is the worst case scenario. You know, they take the EP because of the last hit mechanic, and then if the enemy does collect it, they also kill it in the lane. But there's also the problem that a lot of people do in this game is they collect a green drone or they collect the red drone, and actually their wave of lane drones is so far behind. You're actually just offering up a creeper drone or a tank drone which is just giving EP to them.
Okay, the timing basically.
Exactly. So sometimes they say that, I shouldn't be really saying this. They'd be killing me for saying it. But, they want to hold on to it, and they use it at the most
no.
optimal time.
But this is something I already several times mentioned on my in those live commentaries, that sometimes it takes a drone without any use for it. The timing is completely off. Like you're taking, for example, the drone and you're countering is with tank drone, but you hear, okay, Drake was taken, everyone rushes to their tank drone, and then there's a lonely tank drone is walking around the tank. It's like David against Goliath, but David has no sling actually to defend himself against Goliath, and he's like just annihilated, and the drone is just wasted. So the timings are really important in Shards of War. That's what I usually. Yeah, I completely agree with you. But still, I think even I saw it with you playing with your team, Method and Madness. I think you were trying somewhere last tournament this strategy. And in the beginning, I was like, "This is a mistake," and I was like, "Aha, that's why, interesting." But actually, I got the advice from someone. I didn't find it out myself. I was too stressed because I didn't understand what you're doing. But
you should say it from the enemy side. The enemy sees it like, "Oh, hang on, there's a drone to claim," and sometimes it's good to trap them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because people hesitate to start a drone, but if it's already done, they wouldn't hesitate to go and try and collect it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
But it's a very difficult, risky strategy.
Yeah, that's very risky. Because
I'm not saying these guys do it perfectly. I wouldn't advise anyone to start.
No. And that's why actually I said when I saw this strategy with the drones being done by you, I was like, guys, look, I understand, but the drone moving on the lane is usually, it applies more pressure to the enemy than instead of gaining an advantage by having a higher level, but then you still need to engage correctly. You mean the team fight still needs to be into your favor, and you need to correctly engage, otherwise you're getting flanked, you're getting annihilated, and then your advantage is gone. But the drone definitely will apply pressure. That's why for newcomers especially, don't do it. I think that experienced teams need to be very careful with this strategy till the timings are so awesome that it's really, really beneficial. Flash, thank you so much for this interview. You're the second person today. I'm so happy to do this interview. I feel like this is esport, yeah. This is esport live commenting. It's awesome. So,
thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, of course. What do you want to give me your link to your channel? Then I will post it into my channel so people can check you out too when you're streaming. You're a good streamer, so you're definitely worth a look.
Sure, I can. Let's do it.
Okay, go ahead, do it. Give me the full link. I will post it. Good. Thank you very much for being here, my guest, Flash. Let's see if your progression, if your idea of the next game will turn out to be the right one. And I'm very curious for the next game, for the finals between Steamroller and Solo Zelda. Very curious if their timing will be perfectly, because Steamroller definitely, they're maybe even if you would say that Solo Zelda's strategy is fresher and maybe even better, Steamroller strategy is good, and they're executing it nearly perfectly. So this value, a good strategy perfectly executed is always stronger than a perfect strategy which isn't executed as well as the other strategies. So we're gonna see. Say it again.
Sorry, I was going to say Steamroller are very experienced players.
Yeah.
I think what works well for them is the fact that when they split push, they've got some really good one-on-one players.
Yeah.
For example, Regal, if he's in a lane, it's very difficult to play against him one-on-one. I think with Solo Zelda, they do have one or two really excellent players that are on par with these, but obviously some of the players aren't so experienced. They compensate with having good synergy. So I think it would be an interesting game.
Yeah, definitely. But I think personally, I'm more of a. I love team plays and I love executing. I love to lead teams as well. I enjoy this very much. But I have to admit that I'm a solo lane player very much. So I want, I'm a tennis player from Origin. So I want to have this one-on-one. It's me and you on the battlefield. We're dishing it out, and the better one will stay alive.
I'm the same. I love that. But when I play Rhino a lot, and I'm often asked to play Rhino quite a lot now.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not the best sentinel to go solo lane.
But you actually don't like playing Rhino, right?
I think most people might know that I played Blitz at the start of the game.
Never saw you.
I love attack sentinels. I'm quite an aggressive player, but I've sort of fallen into this tank role because there doesn't seem a majority of players that can actually play tanks.
Yeah.
And it's often something I'm asked to do, and you know, it's difficult. You don't have the damage. You often have to rely on people to follow up, and if you make a bad call like I did today, and you get caught out, it's a difficult job.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I have to admit that recently I started picking up Bulwark a lot, and I actually prefer Bulwark than Rhino. I played Rhino in the very beginning, but somehow, I don't know. Yeah, not my character. Bulwark, however, it feels like he's like the tank, and I'm playing him so aggressive. I'm playing him like an assassin, which is kind of weird, because I'm just screaming to my support me, and then I'm just going balls deep, you know, I don't care. I'm just going, and he has so much sustain. I'm very surprised actually that we don't see him. Why would you actually say that we see more Rhino players currently and not so many Bulwark players? Bulwark is still a very powerful tank.
Have you seen what I said in the blog? I absolutely hate Bulwark. I think he's very boring to play.
Okay. Really? Because for me, I feel like I'm just going in, I'm standing in the middle of the crowd, and I'm just staying there. And nobody can kill me. I love it.
I just think he lacks a good skill shot. I mean, a lot of his abilities are AoE. You know, you hit the space button, it's the shield. You hit the E skill, it hits an area, and his ultimate's the same thing. But the only thing you actually have to aim is your bowler.
Yeah, but then again, with the custom items, Bowler's range is bigger, so long skilled shot shits are possible technically on him.
Yeah, that's the only skill shot. I think he lacks some damage. I think he's a good initiator. He still remains probably the best initiator in terms of his ultimate. But one thing with Rhino now, with his custom item, you can increase the stun range. So he almost achieves the same stun range as a Bulwark, albeit it doesn't stun as long.
I understand. Flash, thank you so much for this interview. I'm already invited for the next game, so I need to rush there to not miss it out. Maybe actually there will be a 3 minutes break, but then I rush to the toilet. I mean, I will deal with technical issues here. So, Flash, ladies killers and managers, Flash, former streamers, just played Rhino for Team Angry. Sadly lost out of the tournament, but for sure we're going to see more of you in tournaments, maybe with your own team, Method in Madness, and...
Yeah. Well, we got third, fourth playoff at the moment.
So that's right. You have one more game. Exactly. Good. Then good luck to that, and hopefully you will have a good match there.
Yep. Cheers, man.
Bye.
See ya.